Happy Memorial Day, Blue Sox Nation. As you know, Memorial Day is the unofficial start of summer, which also means that summer college baseball season, it's starting up real soon. That's right, your Blue Sox and the PGCBL kickoff play Thursday with a home opener for your Sox coming on Saturday. And this is your preseason preview episode of the Soxcast. Pleased to be joined once again by our GM, the man, the myth, the legend, Juliano Macera. Juice is loose back on the Soxcast. Welcome back.
Tim, I appreciate it. We got a lot of experience between the two of us coming back this summer, so should be a lot of fun. Fourth year with the team, third as GM. What is this, year 7 or 8 for you?
9.
9. So collective 13 years. Let's see if it's lucky for us.
That was good. Wow, throwing some zingers out there.
Here we go.
But so let's start. But let's look back on last season. For some perspective. A lot of ups and downs. It was a roller coaster season with the highs were really high. The lows you could feel when they were low. But overall, what was your overall analysis of that and takeaways from the successes, which we saw a lot of this past year, finally getting over the hump in postseason play, first time advancing in the postseason since that magical 2016 ride?
Yeah, it was a crazy start to the season. We had, I don't even remember how many wins in a row. I was
12.
12. You rip off that many wins in a row, and it's hard to not get your hopes up. I can tell you, we just got so, like you were saying, we were so high coming off of that. The mid-season, kind of the dog days of summer. It got kind of difficult, but then you get to the playoffs, and we got our first win since I think you were telling me, was it 2016?
Yep.
2017, the playoffs. So that was a great experience to be a part of, and we're hoping to, at the very least, replicate that, get back to the divisional final, and hopefully a PGCBL championship. So should be exciting.
And the funny thing is about that, that whole ride, talk about the slump they went in July. You had two guys go down on the same play with just, gruesome injuries on that collision in the outfield. Rhino goes to the Cape where he thrived. Nothing. Yeah, obviously he's a legend here, so we just wished him well on that. But I'll take it to my grave if we don't have that outfield collision, if Rhino doesn't get the call of the Cape, I think we might have some jewelry on our fingers right about now. But I digress. You talk about. Let's talk about the fact that we were in the West Division final. Now we're in the East for the first time since 2017, and this is an interesting format that we're going to see. 9 in the East, 7 in the West, with 6 playoff teams in the East, 4 out West. As we all know, the East is the much tougher division, and Utica, they're going to have their hands full with a lot of tough competition, but, how have you been assessing the transition to the East and the kind of competition that we're going to see throughout this entire summer?
Yeah, it's one of those things to be the best, you have to play and beat the best. So, playing the Amsterdam, Socrates, Mohawk Valleys of the league, and obviously I'm forgetting several.
Those are three. Because all 3 of those teams that you mentioned, they've all won championships in this league.
Exactly. So, we're trying to replicate what they've done. So all year the recruitment process was, what do we have to do to beat, the top teams in this league? So that was the process that myself and the coaching staff took, from really last August to now. And we're going to really see if it pays off here in a few short days. So I'm excited. I know the coaching staff is excited. There's a buzz around the field. You can really feel it. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to say it a lot. This home opener here on June 3rd, it's going to be a big crowd. So I'm really excited, and like I said, lots of fun is going to be had this summer with this group.
And if you're not planning on attending, maybe you should. That's just, maybe I'm biased, but, again, the home opener, it's like, it's a circus. I think that's the best way I could put it because, the circus comes to town. You get to see all the bells and whistle, all the hooting and hollering. It's just that first taste. Just get that first taste, and that'll keep you coming back to the ballpark all summer long. I'll tell you that much right now. But speaking of coming to the ballpark, there's a lot of interesting elements to this year's schedule in terms of days in which we're playing at home, promotions that we're running. I mean, definitely want to touch on that. And let's start first and foremost with the return of, for the first time since that 2016 season, Kids Day early in the year, second home game of the year. That's June 6th, a little 10:30 a.m. morning start. I mean, let's start right with that.
Yeah, it's going to be an early rise for our players, our staff, but it's something that George and Cynthia had worked tirelessly on, the whole year, getting the opportunity to work with some local elementary and middle schools, get them out to the ballpark, show them a good time, show them what the Blue Sox are all about. So we're super excited about that. It's going to be a lot of fun. They sold out that game months ago. So it's going to be a sold-out crowd at Murnane. Let's just hope we don't wake up any of the neighbors next to the field.
I mean, by 10:30 a.m., you would think, hypothetically, that they would be.
Yeah.
I might not. I might not be, if I wasn't already working the game. But
yeah,
I digress on that. But and speaking of, the Stars and Stripes, you see on my shirt, for the first time in team history, Sox are hosting a 4th of July home game. I've been to a couple places on the road when the Sox have been on the road for a 4th of July game, like Elmira, but this is a first, and this is going to. I'm really intrigued to see from our perspective what we're going to pull off and what that's going to be like. But I mean, what were your first thoughts when you saw the schedule and you saw, Independence Day, Sox at Murnane?
Yeah, it's one of those things that I had never really considered. These last few years being with the team, and then talking about it before we started filming. Hey, we haven't been home on July 4th. At least like you said, since 2017. So it's almost what you play the game for, is to be able to play under the lights on a day like Independence Day. It's very Sandlot-esque of, there's fireworks going off, there's, people watching you play. I mean, this is what these kids are coming here to do this summer. So I'm excited. It's, as I'm going to say a lot, we're going to hope to get a real good crowd there that night. And show these kids who are coming from all across the country, hey, Utica is no joke. This is going to be one of the best crowds and fan bases in the league.
So, and obviously the biggest crowds of all, we've seen this with one of these promotions every year since 2018, and last year a new tradition that is obviously coming back, backed by popular demand and for a great cause, both of them. Pink the Park Night, obviously the 5th installment of that. It's crazy to think we've already hit 5 years of that. Wowee. And then, of course, Autism Acceptance Night, partnering once again with the Kelberman Center. I mean, I'll let you take the ball on that.
Yeah, so, Pink the Park, like you said, since at least 2018, been working with them to make that game happen for a great cause. Has historically been one of our bigger games, and obviously you know why. It's, one, a great cause, two, it's typically been later in the summer. The crowds have always gotten bigger as school gets out, as the weather really breaks for good. It's going to be a really good time. Obviously auctioning off the jerseys, as always, to raise money. It's going to be fun. And then Autism Acceptance Night is going to come first in June. That's right at the end of June, I believe, June 27th. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Let's see. I mean, if it's a weeknight or if it's on I'm not sure if it's on a Friday night. Yeah.
It's one of those last weeknights there in June. But working with the Kelberman Center again, the Kelberman Center means a lot to me. I'd worked with Kelly Carinci over there, very early on, kind of in partnerships, and then our second year, we said, hey, how can we do this differently? And we pulled a lot of inspiration from Pink the Park and the good people that help us out with that game. So we said, hey, what if we decide to do a jersey auction? And they loved the idea, and last year, that game and Pink the Park were two of our biggest, if not our biggest nights. So, if it's going to be like anything, you want to make sure you really pack the park on both those games. One, to give both those organizations the exposure that they deserve, but then two, raise money and help out those organizations. So we're just super excited to be able to facilitate that and work with both of them. So.
And then also, I mean, I know we brought up the Autism Acceptance Night date. Pink the Park, I know it's end of July, but for the fans out there, just to reiterate, when's that going to be? I feel like that's another late July. I feel like it's a Friday night this time around.
Yeah, one of the last weeks in July. Don't quote me. I believe July 23rd. I think we'll get some video editing, and we'll try to throw that right down here to show you. And then obviously any updates and all of our schedules on uticabluesox.net. And it's also going to be on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're on TikTok, YouTube. We're everywhere. Anywhere that you are, we've got a page and somewhere that you can check out some of the good content that we're getting out there.
Like I can't remember what the YouTuber's name is, but like former Blue Sox Cedric Mullins, you can't escape us.
We're everywhere. You got to have that. You have to have somewhere for the fans to kind of come together and really see what's going on. We're trying to do some behind-the-scenes stuff, but also, just a shout out to our staff and really our great intern group this year. Last year, I believe we were the best social media team in all of the PGCBL. This year, I mean, we've returned everyone who worked on social media last year, and we've added to that group. So it's insane what they do. We've got 2 great graphic designers, 3 people who really work towards posting and applying to comments, the witty captions that you'll see throughout the summer. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to dominate on the field, but also off of it. I think we do a great job of that. And that's just one aspect of what we're doing is social media. Obviously, there's on the field, and then there's the broadcast. So I can go on and on just about how amazing the team is from top to bottom. But to see it, you've got to come out on June 3rd and experience it for yourself. So.
Oh yeah, seeing is better. You gotta see it to believe it. So, exactly. But now, I mean, to kind of wrap this up. Talk about big reasons like why you should come out. Obviously, special promotions to see potential future stars, but for the locals, I mean, they want to see some of their own, and obviously, we've produced some very good local stars within the last couple of years, and obviously, case in point, Ryan Enos, Dewey Roden, 2 all-PGCBL selections just last year, mind you, but the local flavor is definitely back. I mean, Ryan Cook is back. So was his older brother, Avery, who was on the team coming out of Whitesboro back in 2019. Jesus, that's pre-COVID, by the way. And then you add in, Colin Skermont, another Whitesboro kid. Wyatt Palmer from Camden. Thomas Raffaello from Notre Dame. But obviously the crown jewel of that, a guy who has called Murnane Field home basically his whole, teenage life, Todd Abraham. I mean, talk about that local crop and, the kind of impact you think they're going to make, not just on the field, but, bringing in more fans to, see those, local guys and, parents can bring them like, yeah, you could be like this guy one day.
Exactly. And I'm glad we're going to really touch on the local kids, kind of having that flair of, we've got guys coming from all across the country. Last year it was 20 states. This year we haven't broken that down yet, but I'm sure we're going to get a post out there kind of highlighting, hey, these guys are, one, they're not pros, so it's interesting to put yourself in the shoes of someone who's 18 to 22 years old, and hey, for the summer you're not with your family, you're not, with your friends, you're going to play baseball for a lot of these guys in a place that you've never been before. So to have the local guys almost as a guide, but also the backbone of the team, alluding to all the kids that come out for their Little League group nights or with their parents, grandparents, whatever it may be, it gives you someone to look up to and say, hey, that kid is not much older than you are, really, in the grand scheme of things. And you too could play for the Blue Sox. You've got to obviously work hard and be extremely gifted, and that's what all these guys are. Obviously already touching on them. The Cook brothers, super excited to have both them returning, and that's another added element to summer ball that not a lot of people know is, we don't have these guys typically coming back. It's always the one and done situation, and they're moving on to go elsewhere. In this case, Avery coming back all the way from 2019 when he was just a high school senior, headed off to Purdue. Now he's a junior, I believe. Ryan Cook making his second year debut this year, coming off of injury. We've got big expectations for him. I know he's got big expectations for himself after talking to him, and we're big believers in what they do than all the other guys. Tom Rafaro, Todd Abraham, Wyatt Palmer. Correct me if I'm wrong and missing somebody.
Skirmont.
Yeah, Colin Skirmont. It's a really good group, and it's larger than what we've had in the past. In the past, it's typically just been Dewey Roden and Ryan Enos, which was unheard of to get 3 years out of those guys. Could have been 4 if we didn't have the COVID year, but I guess that was kind of the added element of how we got to get to 3. They had those extra years of eligibility, so we're happy with what we've got. These guys are going to be a huge part of what we do. Like I said, get out there on June 3rd, see all these guys in action. It's one thing to see them, when they were 17, 18 years old in high school playing against other kids their age. Now they're going to be playing with D1 guys from all across the country with pro ball aspirations. So get your tickets now, and we'll see you at the ballpark this summer.
I mean, you basically ended the show for me. So again, ladies and gentlemen, June 3rd at Murnane. First pitch set for 6:45 as the Sox take on the Oneonta Outlaws, a team that they didn't see at all last year. They haven't come here since 2021. And another thing, too, Glens Falls hasn't come here, I believe, and I think the Albany Dutchmen as well. You're going to see them at Murnane for the first time since pre-COVID, since 2019. Absolutely bonkers. I still can't fathom that, considering, they're not – Glens Falls is a little far. Albany, like an hour and a half. I don't wonder, but I digress. So, again, June 3rd at Murnane, 6:45. Make sure to come out and support your Sox against the Oneonta Outlaws, and hopefully that'll hook you in and keep you coming back all summer long. And obviously, make sure to follow all of us, on Twitter at @UBlueSox, Instagram and Twitter. Instagram at Utica Blue Sox. Give us a like on Facebook and on TikTok as well. Got some dank content there as well for all you millennials and Gen Zers, I guess, if you want to put it out there like that. And obviously follow on uticabluesox.net for, merch, tickets, you name it, and see roster updates, the whole 9 yards. Get all, again, uticabluesox.net. So that's going to end this season preview episode of the Soxcast for 2023. Juice, thanks for the time, and man, I know I speak for you too. Cannot wait to get this ball rolling this week.
Awesome. Yeah, a few short days. So we'll see you at Murnane Field.
All right, that's going to do it for Juliano Macera. I'm Tim Best. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you at Murnane June 3rd. Take care, y'all.